Position for leadership, even if you are not there yet. Now, let me tell you something. When you get the title, it starts long before anyone even recognized you. All right. So leadership positions just don't come because you don't get to be called a leader just because you have a certain title. Professionals need to realize that you become a leader long before you get the title. But before we start and go too far, I just want to be sure that you can see me and hear me at the same time. And sure that you're just meeting me for the first time. My name is Elora, and this channel helps professionals to strategically position themselves, all right, especially at your workplace to become more productive and, of course, get the recognition you deserve. Career strategy, career growth, leadership, communication, and basically everything to help you grow in your chosen field of work. Now, there are people in your workplace right now less competent than you, less experienced than you, but they are being seen as leaders. Why? Because they understand something you don't understand yet. And this is me speaking from a position of being in the workforce, being working in organizations, working for people, being an employee, and also an entrepreneur combined for the past 2 decades. Now, leadership is perception before position. You have to be perceived to be a leader before you actually get the title or the position of being called a leader. And this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to position yourself for leadership, even if nobody has ever given you the title yet. All right. So if you're interested in growing your career, interested in being recognized as a leader, you already recognize your value, you already know that you're smart, you already know that you're intelligent, you already know that you deserve to be recognized, then this channel is for you. Now I'm going to break this into different sections so it's easier for you to understand. The first we're going to talk about is why you are not yet seen as a leader. And it's a very uncomfortable truth. It's very uncomfortable truth, especially if you've seen yourself in a position where you are doing so much, you're working so hard, yet you are not recognized as a leader. Most professionals are invisible not because they lack potential. Professionals that are smart, they're intelligent, but they're invincible not because they lack potential, but because they wait to be chosen. And that's the reason why many people are not being seen as leaders. The reason why you are not being seen as a leader in your organization is basically because you are waiting to be chosen. They focus on only execution. They make the workplace appear to be only transactional. They forget that when you work in an organization, it's not only about your technical skills, it's also about your social skills. And one of the social skills is by having a certain level of visibility where you are seen and where you are recognized. So you need to think, if I just keep doing good work alone, will I get noticed? And the typical answer to that is no. The workplace doesn't reward effort alone. Effort is good, but it rewards perceived impact. The question is, what is the value you add to your organization? What is the value you add to where you work? What is the value you add to your colleagues? What value do you add? What do you add of the organization? If people don't see leadership in you, they will not assign leadership to you. So leadership is perceived before you even get access to the title. That is one of the things you need to understand. First is to understand why you are not seen as a leader. You're not seen as a leader because you are waiting to be chosen. You are waiting to be given that title. You are focusing on only executing the job. You're not realizing that there's some things about you that need to be communicated to those that make the decisions to show that you are worthy of being recognized and given that leadership title that you so desire. You avoid visibility at all costs. So if you're going to be considered for leadership, you cannot afford to avoid visibility. You cannot shy away from being seen. So doing the work alone is not enough to get you noticed, because the workplace doesn't reward your effort, it rewards perceived impact, it rewards perceived value. So if people don't see that leadership in you, they will not assign the leadership to you. Now, another aspect that you also need to look into, if you feel that you're worthy of being called a leader, you want to be recognized as a leader, but for some reason you're not being seen as one, is to shift your identity. Before anything changes externally, something needs to change internally, something needs to change within you. You must stop seeing yourself as just a staff. You must stop seeing yourself as it's just a job, I'm just doing my job. Now you have to start operating in a different aura. Now you have to start operating in a different vibe. And number one is seeing yourself as a decision maker, followed by seeing yourself as a problem solver, and then following yourself as seen as a voice in the room. Leadership is the first identity shift. A leader does not see themselves as just a staff. A leader doesn't see themselves as, I'm just doing my job. There has to be some level of accountability, some level of ownership to the mission and vision and values of your organization or wherever it is you are being paid for your services. So you have to start operating as a decision maker. You have to shift. You have to start thinking of, how can I be identified as a problem solver? You have to change the way people perceive you. You have to have that, what they call the identity shift. And it starts mentally, it starts from within before it shows. And like they say, you can't give what you do not have. So it's a capacity, it's a phase where you have to build your capacity. So you have to ask yourself daily, what would a leader do in this situation? And then you act accordingly. You cannot expect to be identified as a leader if you are not acting like a leader. You have to act accordingly. So before you are given a leadership title, before you are recognized as a leader, you must act as a leader. Now, another thing you need to identify is you have to start learning to speak like a leader. Remember, I said act like a leader, which is the mental shift that starts from within before it shows outwardly. Now, you have to also start to speak like a leader. So if you're always quiet in meetings, if you never share ideas, you wait to be called before you share your achievements and your ideas and those plans, those great plans you have, but you never really actualize, or you actualize and nobody even knows about it. You are training people to overlook you. You are conditioning people to overlook you. Leaders are never silent. I mean, check out the presidents of the world, check out the great people of the world. They were not silent. And I'm not talking about, just using your voice and making lots of noise. No, I mean, they were intentional and strategic about where they were seen and where they were heard. So if you're always quiet in meetings, then that means you are silent. If you never share your ideas, that means you are silent. And if you wait to be called before your achievements are brought to the fore, then that means you're silent. And that means you're conditioning people around you to see you as a ghost, to see you as you're not even relevant. So these are the things you need to start doing. You need to start speaking in meetings. Start speaking in meetings. You need to share structured opinions. And that's why I said talking is not just about saying different words or emitting words from your mouth. You need to share structured opinions. You need to ask intelligent questions. So even one sentence can change how people see you, right? Even one sentence can change how people see you. And visibility creates perception. Perception creates opportunity. You need to learn how to be visible, and you need to learn how to create perception for people to see you. It's very, very important. Visibility creates perception. So if you're not visible, if people can't see you, if people can't see your achievements, if people don't know what you do or how you do it, you're not sharing your ideas, you're not talking in meetings, you're not asking strategic questions, you're not sharing structured opinions, you're not asking intelligent questions, you never speak at meetings, then you will have a very poor visibility. You're going to end up having people who are less competent than you who know less than you, less experienced than you, getting to take all the shine and, of course, get the necessary recognition. So, perception creates opportunity. All right. Now, you also have to own results. This is one of the best strategic leadership traits people just seem to overlook. Own your results, not just tasks. Many times people are focused on just making the whole thing in the organization transactional. I mean, it's so easy to smell off someone that this person does not even have any sense of loyalty or belonging to where they are working. Now, employees complete tasks, but leaders own outcomes. So instead of saying, I finished my part, start saying, here is the impact of what we do. Here is the impact of what I have done so far. So it's not just to say, I finished my part. Yes, you get paid to finish your part. But then again, to be perceived as somebody that is of value, that someone is relevant, you need to also be able to share the impact of what you do. Track your wins, your projects that are completed, your problems solved, and value created by you or by people you work with. You have to learn how to communicate them because results are not communicated. They don't exist in the workplace. If you don't communicate those results, it will not exist. So you need to learn how to be visible. You need to learn how to talk at the right time. You need to learn how to be strategically positioned. So, what are those projects you've completed that nobody knows about? What are those things you have done, those problems you have solved that have added impact to your organization? What value have you created? You are paid to do a job, to get a job done. Now, can you communicate effectively the value of that job you have created? Communicate it, right? Build strategic relationships. And let me say this clearly, hard work alone will not take you to leadership. It is relationships that will. So you need visibility with decision makers. You need visibility. You need alignment with your managers and your colleagues. You need credibility with your peers. You need to build trust amongst with the people you work with. This is not politics. This is professional intelligence. You need to start small. So speak to your manager about your goals, contribute beyond your role, and be known for something specific. Your value. What value are you adding? Like they say, what are you bringing to the table? So it's not just about politics because you need to also have the technical skills. What level of how good are you with soft skills, social skills, emotional intelligence? How have you been representing yourself as a leader to the organization, to the decision makers? Do they see you? Do they know you? And it's not about eye service or politics, it's about your impact and your value. If you don't voice it out, if you don't communicate it out, nobody's going to know what you've achieved. How well aligned are you with those that make the decision? All right, it's not by being aligned to gossip and then you do not even get the job done, right? You need to be aligned, you need to balance it out. You're good on your job and you also have the social skills to back it up. That's if you're even considering leadership. If you're not considering leadership, then you can overlook all those other things and just simply face the job as an average employee would. So you need to speak to your manager about your goals, about your achievements. Contribute to your role. Contribute beyond your role. Don't just see a job as I'm going to do this and then that's all I was paid for and end there. You need to learn how to also go the extra mile. Be known for something specific, right? So stop waiting for permission. Future leaders don't wait. They volunteer for responsibility. They step into gaps. They take initiative. So if something is broken, don't complain, fix it, right? So if there's confusion, bring clarity. Don't always be the one that brings problem to the boss's table. Also be a solution provider. If you're going with the problem, go alongside with the solution. Leadership is demonstrated before it is given. All right. So these are very, very important points that you also need to note and take care of. And they're very basic. And I will also go through them briefly again. First, I said is why are you not seen as a leader? is because you focus only on execution and you wait to be chosen. You are always avoiding and shying away from visibility. The second aspect is you need to shift your identity. So before anything changes externally, it has to change within. What kind of mindset do you have? Then start speaking like a leader. When there is an internal change and it shows externally, the next is to also raise your voice. Don't always be silent in meetings and say, oh, I don't want to appear arrogant. I don't want to appear proud. You will keep getting overlooked. You never share ideas. You never bring solutions to the table. You're always bringing only problems. Start to speak in meetings. Share structured opinions, not negative. Don't be identified as a negative person. When you're going to ask questions, if you need to even prepare the questions intelligently before you come for the meetings, please go ahead, do your research and prepare them. Visibility creates perception. Perception creates opportunity, right? So employees, all they care about is just to complete tasks. If you want to be identified as a leader, you have to own the outcomes. So instead of just saying I just finished my part, then you're just going to be focused more. What you should be focused on is the impact, the achievement. How does it, the value of what you are doing. So if you've not been tracking your projects, start tracking your projects now. If you're the type that all you're identified for is just bringing problems to the table, become a problem solver. Create value, value, way above what is expected of you, right? Results that are not communicated practically do not exist. You also have to learn how to build strategic relationships with those that matter. All right, decision makers, build strategic relationships with them. Strategic, I didn't say eye service or gossip kind of relationship. Strategic relationships where your discussions are basically focused on how you can take the organization forward, not how this one is dating this one or this one has no integrity. No, that is not your concern. That is can be termed to be gossip, and you don't want to get caught in that way. All right, volunteer for responsibilities. Shying away from responsibilities is not the attribute of a leader. As a leader, you don't run away from responsibilities. Step into gaps. If there are obvious gaps, step into it without complaint. All right, if you just work only for what your salary is coming to you, then you're not ready for leadership. Take initiative. Be proactive, not reactive. And if something is broken, don't be a nag. Don't keep complaining. Look for a solution for it, fix it, bring clarity to that situation. Leadership is demonstrated before it is given, and that's why some people, they are not perfect, they are not, whatever. They are taken care of, right? So let me just leave you with this: the workplace does not promote potential; it promotes perception plus visibility plus impact. Yeah, everybody has potential, but what makes you different from the next person? So if you want to be seen as a leader, start acting like one now. Not when they're giving you the title. If you're waiting for the title may never come. And that's why if you go to some organizations, you see some people who are already even having more influence, more I don't want to use the word power, but they command more influence than even the people with the title. And if this is truly what you're looking into, then this channel is for you, because I'm going to be showing you clear-cut strategies on how I also grew in my career in the past 2 decades, right? So if this has made any impact on you, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, where I'll be talking a lot about leadership, communication, strategy, business, and of course, how to grow your career, and of course, HR as well. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day, and I'll be seeing you in another live session later in the day. Thank you. Yes, please.